Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. Alright, so let's do another recap video on our live stream today. Now, we opened up with a great amount of buyers because we gapped up huge overnight. And basically back to back, we moved up more than 20 points here. And today, just alone today, okay, we moved up 3%, right? 3.10%. Now that is a large move to the upside. And when we opened, we were up almost 2%, I believe 1.80%. So that in itself is a lot, okay? It's a very, very large move. So my first thought was that, okay, we need to be looking out for a rejection at a significant whole number level. And that was my entire bias for today. And this is where you guys should learn a lesson from me, right? And if you guys have seen my thumbnail, there were 2 losses and 1 win. Now, I am currently at a loss on my 4th position, but I have not closed it yet. So it is not an official loss or profit, and we will know more tomorrow at open. So if you guys want to know what contracts I have swung and what contracts I am looking at to the downside, okay, that's my little hint. So I'm using puts. Make sure you guys join by clicking on the description box below and taking a look at the link. It's very, very hard to miss, right? So click on the link and read through the website and use the discount codes that are available to you. There are 2 50% off discount codes that you guys can use. Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a look at what happened today. So as usual, we started off with the 5-minute time frame, and then we switched back to the 15-minute time frame. And if you guys already know me, we like to switch back and forth between the 5 and 15-minute time frames. And a lot of my students and a lot of my CFO Swing Watch members are starting to do that now because it's very eye-opening, right? You're able to look at a very, very good amount of data in the markets, right, when the market is live, and you're able to see a nice bigger perspective within the time frames, the intraday time frames, excuse me. And it allows you to have a clearer mindset and clearer head, right? And you're able to observe things with a lot more clarity, as opposed to, let's say looking at the 1 to 3 minute intraday time frames, right? Because a lot of people like to use that 1 minute to 3 minutes pair, and it can get very, very distracting. So the 5 and 15-minute pair is probably the best for you to be able to trade, especially day trade, on the intraday time frames. So today we opened up, and I was expecting a very, very large movement to the downside, at least a retest of this 370.50 resistance level. Now, mind you, in pre-market we're already sitting around 372, and we're kind of hovering around 371.50ish, kind of going back and forth between 372 and 371.50, and then right near open. Okay, so around like 6:28, since I am on the Pacific Standard Time, the price just shot up, right? And I said, okay, that's interesting. And when we opened up, we opened right above 372, and we opened up, after we opened up around 372, we continued to move up and up and up and up. Eventually, we passed above 373 when I was expecting some sort of resistance. So in my head, I was like, okay, I don't want to be FOMOing on any calls that I didn't take, and I'll be waiting for a rejection. And as the second 5-minute candlestick formed, I switched to the 15-minute time frame. And this is when I saw something, okay? And the chart here, okay, if you guys follow this trend line here, the 15-minute chart looked like this, right? Before I extended this resistance trend line. Now, you guys might already see this, but this resistance line was extended, right? And the reason for that is that, well, when I extended this, and if I went back to my 5-minute time frame, you can tell that there's a history here this data here, this data point that this candlestick saw rejection once we hit this resistance level, right? And that's when I first took my puts there, and I lost, right? Because obviously, if you see here, we pushed up higher, and I had to get out for it with the stop loss. And my stop loss eventually hit, and I got out for my first loss of the day. And then the second loss came in right over here. Okay, so as we're pushing up higher, I said, okay, we have to come back down and retest this ascending resistance level as new support. And I would like to see that big move to the downside, at least more than the 50-cent move, which is enough to increase the premiums in my put contracts, right? And eventually, I got out again with the stop loss, right? And I got that second loss. So I told myself, okay, since we are pushing up higher, we're getting very, very extended, right? This is an overextension since we have a combination of this big gap up, which already caused the RSI to be above 80, okay? The value of the RSI was at 82 on this candlestick, right? If you guys take a look at the bottom left here. And as we continue to push up higher, we eventually hit 86. And I told myself, okay, at this point, we need to come back down, right? The probability for us to come back down is pretty high. And in my head, I said, all right, since I am having that bias, third time's the charm for my puts. And I guess it was, because this play turned out pretty good. All right, and I was able to shave off some of my losses from the very first two trades. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, when you have a bias, you need to be very, very careful, because biases usually form when you're going against a specific trend. And, you know, people were surprised that I had this bias, right? And remember, I am not a special trader. I'm not a special person. I'm not some godly technical analysis trader or expert. I'm just like everyone else. We're human, right? And that's the major lesson that I want you guys to learn from this, right? And it's completely okay to be biased when you are going against the trend. All you need to know is, you know, your risk tolerance and how much you're risking, right? That's the most important part. How much you're risking and how much you're willing to risk when you're going against the trend, excuse me, and you have a very, very big bias that is going against that specific trend. So at this point, okay, I said, all right, I'm gonna protect the profits that I received from my overnight NVIDIA swing that I sent out to my CFO Swing Watch members, which fortunately turned out to be 166% overnight. I could have held a runner to possibly over 200%, maybe even above 300%, right? Like some of my members did from last night. All right. And obviously, congrats to you guys for the people who are rewatching this recap. But you know, I'm completely fine with that 166%. And I told myself I'm going to protect the profits that I made on the third trade to the downside for SPY, and the profits I've gained on the video. And so I stopped trading for a while. And guess what? I'm glad that I did, because we consolidated for the next hour or so, and we continued to retest this 377 level that was on the daily time frame as well. And that's another lesson for you guys. Daily time frame levels are still significant on the intraday levels, such as the 5-minute and the 50-minute. And even if you go down to the 1 minute, you'll still see the 377 level present, right? And still acting as a level of resistance. So with this 377 level in mind, I basically told myself this. So if we reject off of 377, then we have to go back down, because if we're not able to get back above 377, we're just going to continue to force buyers in for the especially the people who are chasing here, and we're going to suck in the buyers, and eventually we're going to have a complete washout of those buyers, and we're going to push below. And if we do push below 377 and stay below 377, then we have a second hurdle to cross, which is this 376 support level, a very, very significant intraday level that we just formed today as we're forming this little tiny flag here. Okay, and if we were able to break below 376, then we will eventually head back down, hit this ascending level of resistance, and bounce on top of it, making it to a new level of support. And that's what we did later on in the day. And I did not take profits on that fourth position, which is the reason why I told you guys earlier before I went in to this analysis and recap that I am still holding. Okay, I believe I went in somewhere around here. Okay, around here. I have to check the exact time I was filled on but I was generally filled around here. Okay, and so obviously at the end of the day we pumped hard. And this might have been one final movement by the buyers to wash out any sellers who are stuck in this area, right? And that's one of, well, that's considered me, right? So hopefully we're able to see a little tiny gap down overnight tomorrow. And fortunately, I'm seeing a gap down so far on futures, right? As we're continuing to reject off of this 3800 whole number level. So if we're able to hold this gap down from the close on futures today, which was at 3803.25, there's a good chance that we continue to move down tomorrow morning at open, all right, before we hit a significant level of support and turning the day around from being red to green. All right, so that's it for this recap video. Hopefully you guys learned something, and especially something psychologically, right? Because today was all about being psychologically strong and being very, very patient and learning how to deal with a confirmation bias, a personal confirmation bias, especially when you're going against a trend, right? So make sure you guys rewatch this video if you guys are a little bit confused on why I had a confirmation bias or why I did not change my bias, right? And remember, we're all human. We're gonna make the same mistakes over and over again. We just tend to know how to handle those mistakes better with time. All right, so if you guys like this video, make sure you guys leave a like down below. If you guys are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you guys didn't like the info in this video, make sure you guys hit that down button. Whatever you guys want to do, it's up to you. If you guys didn't like it, you guys don't need to like it at all. Or if you guys want to, you guys can hit that thumbs down button. Who knows? It's all your choice. All right, so I'll see you guys all on another video, and make sure you guys are always trading with a lot of preparedness, okay, and a lot of patience.